Welcome to Stuff and Things. My name's Chase.
And I'm Jess.
And this is our podcast where we talk about the random stuff and things that come to our mind. Also, the things that influence our business and just our day-to-day life. And so welcome to episode 13.
Ooh,
sorry
13.
for the lateness of this episode. We've had kind of a crazy week, and we're just now getting to recording it on Wednesday night. We should have released this Wednesday morning.
Yes.
But, you know, sometimes that's just how it goes with life and just in general.
Truly. Truly it is.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy week. We've still had construction in our house, but then we decided to don our own construction. We went out on Sunday and bought a pool table off of Craigslist.
Not just went out, we drove 4 hours.
Yeah, it was a 2-hour drive one way to get this pool table that was a screaming deal on Craigslist.
Yeah, it cost barely anything.
And so we felt like that justified the drive, but it took all day. Like we left after church on Sunday, and that was like 12:30, and we got home at almost 7 o'clock. So 7 hours in a car with 3 kids is never a short time by any means.
But we got to see like Amish buggies, and we got to point out like, hey, look, this is what Amish people live like. And that was kind of cool to have that discussion about like differences and cultures. But
we got the pool table. I got there and we disassembled it. I thought it was going to take like 30 minutes. It ended up taking like an hour to take this whole thing apart and then move it. And it was way heavier than anticipated.
Yeah.
So we got it home all in one piece.
We sure did.
You attempted to move it off the truck.
That was funny.
That didn't work. And so I called a friend over last minute to get that.
I helped with everything but the slate.
You did. We got it all set up though, and realized that our basement is definitely not big enough in its current configuration for said pool table. Well,
and we knew we had this like superficial wall along the edge of our great room in the basement. So we were like, that's got to go.
Yep. So we just punched a hole in the wall. It was like, yep, it's not holding anything up. So 2 nights ago, Monday night, we decided instead of recording this podcast, which we were supposed to do, we got distracted by tearing down a wall.
It was really fun.
So Jess proceeded to just take out all of her anger and aggression for like her entire life with a sledgehammer on the wall.
I don't know about that, but
and just punched holes over and over and over again.
It was just really fun. I get the joy of demolition now. Like if I could have a job where I just got to demo things.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That'd be really fun.
Yep. So I like meticulously used a like multi-tool to like cut the drywall out in little rectangles.
That's boring.
Pull them off all neat. And then Jess is just over there just sledgehammering away.
It was fun.
And so we took everything down. I've been over the last 2 days like refinishing some pieces and parts and cleaning up Jess's mess.
Well, it was like the best case scenario though. I mean, we took down the wall and realized, there's still, the ceiling texture underneath this board and there's still finished drywall underneath
so we just
these
had
boards.
A few little repairs in the walls, like where the nails were in and things like that. And where we got a little overzealous with our sledging.
It wasn't me.
I said we. But yeah,
but I didn't.
Where I put holes in the ceiling, basically.
It was an accident. You were just trying to pull boards down.
Moved some HVAC stuff around, which was great. And now we've got an extra.
And electrical. You only got electrocuted.
I got electrocuted one time. So I feel like that's a win. Moved a light switch. So that was pretty cool. And then, now we added like an extra 200 square feet to our basement. Yeah. Of usable space because it was a gym.
Sure.
And we all know quarantine that nobody's working out. So we're not one of those people that like got super swollen during the pandemic.
We started running and then
swiftly gave up on that.
Well, it wasn't swiftly giving up. It just got really cold and
we're fair weather runners.
Yeah. We'll start back up when it gets warm again.
Or if we get a treadmill. But either way, so we apologize. We'll get this up tonight though. So it'll be up on Wednesday still, and then the video will come tomorrow on Thursday. If you guys so pleased to watch that. But tonight we wanted to talk about something that really, we feel like a lot of people struggle with over the holiday season. And what we as creatives, can struggle with as well from time to time. And that's feeling burned out. Or just feeling blah or like just worn down. And I think that it's pretty common nowadays to feel tired feel like
I feel it right now.
Yeah, to feel like you're just not doing enough though.
Yeah.
Or that you're doing too much.
Yes.
And I think that it kind of breaks down into, for us at least, like personal life, burnout, and then also like work life, creative life, kind of burnout as well. So we want to talk first about what makes you burned out during the holiday season. So welcome to our Advent series.
Burnout. Yeah, I feel like as parents, it is really exhausting because especially in an era of social media where everybody's like, oh my gosh, look, we made these gorgeous Christmas cookies. Y'all, we are going to be totally honest. We bought Christmas cookies this year. Like we bought a kit.
This is the best idea ever. We have a friend whose wife bakes and she put out this year that she is making these holiday cookie decorating kits.
Yeah.
And so
super stoked about this. 18 sugar cookies for your family. And she gives you like bags of royal icing that you just have to cut the tips off of and like ice the cookies and sprinkles. But like pretty ones too. You know, the ones that like you don't really ever buy because you're like, $5 for that bottle.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. So we are super pumped about this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be. Because that's really everybody's favorite part of making sugar cookies. Let's get real. Like the actual baking process.
I think my favorite part of making sugar cookies
you
is
only do it because
cookies.
you like eating the sugar cookie dough.
Just the dough. Like I'm not a huge fan of like cooked sugar cookies, but I love sugar cookie dough.
Yes, you do.
But yeah, so we are doing that. Like I think that just really speaks volumes to just this season in general of like, you know what, I just can't even do this year.
I think it's more so also those like I've heard people say before, and we'll get more into this as we talk about like how to combat it. But, you know, don't feel like everything in life you have to do. Like it's okay in some areas to pay someone or to buy something that's going to make your life easier in a way that's going to bring you more joy.
Or to just not do it. Like really, like if it's causing stress, just don't do it. But either way, like, so we want to talk about just the holidays. Like we said, we'll talk a little more about that when we get to like, what can you do?
Yeah.
But especially in the holiday season, I feel like burnout is really prevalent. Between shopping for presents, you know, what Christmas presents, whatever it is, like it gets crazy.
It does.
You know, you get started in November or earlier. And I mean, if you're good at it, you get started earlier. Or if you fall into the burnout category, you probably get started right about now.
I mean, but even if you start earlier, I feel like there's still that tendency to feel like it's not enough or to feel like, oh my gosh, do I have everything? And just that stress of like, am I going to disappoint is really hard. Like super hard. That's a lot of stress to put on yourself.
Especially with kids and things like that. And just the amount of technology that's out there nowadays and just how fast things change and how fast kids like interests change. Yeah. I think it's super hard to keep up with.
It totally is.
And then you fall into the camp of like, well, am I getting them enough stuff? Am I getting them too much stuff? Am I, you know, are their friends going to make fun of them for the things that they're getting? Like all these crazy things. And it's like, it's just hard.
It is hard.
And then you throw in the mix, like, you know, family, right? Yes. Like trying to buy gifts for your family or just like spending a lot of time with your family. Like it can get tiresome to like be constantly entertaining. And I think that like I've seen it in our family. This has really started like Thanksgiving break and you go back to school and the kids are like, oh, we have 3 weeks until Christmas. And so they are like,
checked out.
They just like don't care and they don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And then it just gets like this really crazy time where like,
you're trying to catch up on stuff and you're trying to get everything done. And
yeah, it's just a hassle.
It is.
And I mean, it's wild, but then, you know, they're just kind of checked out from school.
Yeah.
And so then you get to this point of like, well, how much longer do we have until Christmas? Like,
yes.
And it just really wears on you and it wears on our kids and it wears on the teachers too. Like I know that there's been several communications from some of the teachers that have been like, you know, we're just all exhausted. Like we're just all really tired and we're just ready to be like done with this year, like done with this in between time of break and just like to move forward and to have a little bit of a normalcy of a schedule.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I mean, educators this year, I mean, being one, I know it's stressful. It's hard. It's so different. And it's kind of like, as a friend of mine put it, a colleague of mine put it the other day, you're just always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel like we're constantly on this knife's edge of, like, when's it going to be that a kid in our class has it, or that one of our friends has it, or whatever. And we all realize we're at this point, most people are not going to die from it. It's not necessarily that fear, but it's more so just the, like, trying to keep everyone healthy, having that, like, responsibility on your shoulders of keeping all these kids safe. And it's just, so it's definitely a heavy burden to carry.
It's just tiresome. Like, it's hard to be constantly worrying about things like that and constantly stressing about it. Mm-hmm. And then to just, like, also have to do your job, like, also have to, like, be involved with kids and, like, teaching them and things like that. I mean, like, you've got it way harder than I do. Like, I mean, with being home with the kids, it's different for sure. Like, they have their own stressors and things like that. And
obviously,
like, being at home is hard in its own right sometimes. But I think that, like, for you having to go and deal with work stress on top of, like, COVID stress, I couldn't do it. So that's a lot to go through with. But
as you told me the other day, I led you astray and I made staying at home look easy.
Yeah, guys, if you work, like, all the time and your wife stays at home and, like, with your kids and does, like, the housework and does all this stuff, like give her a hug. Like, tell her that she's doing a wonderful job, because holy cow, like, I thought working was hard. There is no comparison to this. Like, it is tiresome. Like, I can't keep up. I don't know how she did it. She's a superhero for sure. Like, there's no way that I can, like, clean the house, teach the kids school, like, make sure they're,
you're
like,
not even teaching though.
I'm just making sure they're logged onto a Zoom call. And, like, that's hard enough. And, like, but then, like, also, like, they're dressed and fed and, like, alive. Like, I don't know. It's hard. And then on top of that, like, I'm trying to, like, run a business and work and do all this stuff. It's like, there is not enough time. Like, I need to clone myself, like, fast. So,
well, to be fair, I was not running a business at the time.
No, but you were still a superhero. There's no way that
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, okay.
He is.
But so, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the other thing too, is, like, it just weighs on you. Like, whatever it is, whatever that thing is in your life, there's always that, like, constant, like, it's constantly taking from you. Like, it's constantly working hard and constantly, or, you know, constantly being with your family, or constantly whatever it is. Like, there's always something that's weighing on you. And then you reach this point where, like, enough's enough and it just gets too hard.
Yep. And that's, my friends, what we call burnout.
Yes. So we also want to talk a little bit about just, like, being a creative, running a photography business, or being a musician, or whatever it may be, and talking about burnout in that aspect as well, because it's a little bit different than, it is, like, just being worn down by life. You know,
well, and I would say burnout goes a little farther than just being worn down. Like, it's one thing to be tired, but you will recognize burnout a little differently. I mean, I recognized it in myself a little earlier this year when I was just, working 2 jobs, basically. Well, 3 if you count motherhood, and then trying to do a master's degree and trying to do all of these things and saying yes to way too much. I just was to the point where I wanted to not do anything. And when you notice that things that you love aren't bringing you joy anymore, or you are stressed even when you're doing the things that you thought you enjoyed, and you just want to spend more and more time, like, avoiding, you're probably facing some burnout.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's just, like, complete avoidance of, like, tasks that are required of you.
And it's not depression, because that's different too. That looks different.
But this is just not wanting to do something that previously brought you joy, or previously, like, you loved, or
can
whatever.
Also be a sign of depression.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Burnout is more about just wearing yourself too thin, saying yes to too many things, and not taking care of yourself, really. For sure. And I think creatively what that comes into is, like, we call it, like, being stuck in a rut. Yes. Like, your creative juices aren't flowing, right? Like, and so for us as, like, photographers, it's like trying to
be creative, like trying to be like different than the pack, trying to stand out, trying to, you know, create things that are artistic and fun and that our clients love. But then like there's a whole like business side of things too, of like, you know, trying to get clients, like keep your clients happy, like collect money, like the whole business side of things. Like it's a big deal too. And like you can lead yourself into burnout pretty quickly in that. You can lead yourself into like just doing too much or just trying too much. Yeah. Or just comparing too much and falling into a trap of like, I can't continue this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It gets really difficult.
It does get really, really difficult. And then you're like, every time you go to a shoot or every time you are creating, you just feel this like, this isn't what it should be, or this isn't like as creative as it could have been, or,
like, you know, you just,
or you question everything. Like, was that good? Am I even good? Should I just quit? Like,
should I do this? Should I give up? Should I? Yeah. And there's all those like creeping doubts that come in.
Absolutely.
And it gets really difficult.
It does.
And you start stressing out. Yeah. And like I watched a video recently about burnout, and it was talking about how stress is like a good sign of being burnt out, that you're overly anxious about things or overly stressed out about things, and that stress can then actually like shut down the creative portion of your brain.
Really?
And so because of that, like you get in that rut of not being creative, and then you start beating yourself up about not being creative, which causes more stress, which causes your brain to shut down more. It's kind of the same vein of like the fight or flight. Okay. But it's more like a stress induced like lack of creativity.
Gotcha.
And so it can make you depressed. It can make you lead into this like really deep stage of burnout where you just don't think that anything you can do is good enough and that you can't ever attain anything, or that like, oh, I'm never going to create again. Like, and that's going to be for musicians. It can be painters. It can be photographers. It can be whoever. Like all these people like will face this at some point because it's hard. It's hard to stay fresh. It's hard to keep creating. It's hard to really focus on all the different aspects of things.
Yes.
And to make it work.
Yeah,
like
for sure. I mean, I think we run into that in photography when it's like our busy season, and like, which for us is like October to December is just super busy with like family portraits and, you know, everybody getting their Christmas cards together and things like that. And I feel like we really run into like being fresh because there's just so much. And then I feel like, oh, we've done this pose a lot lately, or we've done this a lot. Like this look doesn't feel new and fresh.
Yeah.
It can get really hard.
It can. But like we were just talking today after we left a shoot, we're like, you know, well, what could we do differently? And we always ask ourselves that, like, what could we have done more of? Like, how can we do this better next time? Like, and not saying that by any means, like the shoot was bad. It's just,
no, it was great.
Trying to continue to grow ourselves. They were super cute. Yeah. Trying to make ourselves better each time.
Yes.
And, you know, kind of seeing it from that, like, hindsight is 20/20 type vision.
Absolutely.
And being able to like see what we can do. And, you know, you get into those ideas of like, you know, well, like, was that good? Like, did we do good enough? Like,
well, especially when you're leaving, you're like, oh, I should have done this and we should have done that. And this would have been really cute. Like
the poses were flowing well or whatever it may be. Like, it gets difficult.
It does.
But we still try to strive to like grow in that. And I think that's one thing that really helps us to continue being creative is to like just kind of push through that. Like to kind of push past the like, well, we suck phase, and like, you know, look at some of the pictures on the back of our camera.
Absolutely.
Or like show each other pictures and give each other like that positive affirmation of like, no, like these are really good. Like that's like a really cute picture. Like that's going to look really great after processing.
Yeah.
Like all these little things of like little bits of encouragement. And I think that helps us get out of that rut.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like creativity, like it actually has like physiological, like not creativity, but like burnout.
Yeah,
burnout has like physiological like rooting.
Like, I'm interested to see where this is going. Like, what do I need to do? Yeah. Tell me more.
It's late. It's tired. I'm tired. Whatever.
It's
tired. It's trace.
You need some of our new chai.
But so like burnout has roots like physiologically.
Yes.
And like it actually is like proven that like it can be induced by stress, and it actually has like blocking like your receptors in your brain, and it causes like actual like neurological like responses. Yeah. And that's a big thing. Like your mental health is a huge portion of like you feeling burned out.
Yes, it is. And really, like, I think thankfully the stigma is being lifted on the whole mental health and getting help and
for sure.
Just on that whole spectrum, which is so positive and so good because it's really important to take care of your mental health.
But I think that we should take a real quick break before we start talking about how to fix being burned out. But yeah, so we'll take a quick one here and we will reset the cameras and we'll be right back.
Okay.
So we want to talk a little bit now about just what we can do to either avoid burning out or how to kind of get out of that rut if you're in it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of just start, just words.
Word mouth noises.
We just want to start with how to recognize you're burning out. And you kind of want to touch base on that.
Yeah. So we kind of touched on this earlier about like how if you're, really just finding yourself dreading the things that you've said yes to, or maybe you're just like, all you want to do is take a day. Like you might be a little burnout and you should listen to those cues. It can be really good for you to be able to kind of readjust to those and just take that time for yourself. I've always heard people say that like sickness is a way of your body forcing you to slow down. And gosh, that is truth. Like,
oh, for sure.
I think that we need to learn to say no. That's a big thing for myself included. Saying no to too much, right? Like it's okay to say no to something, even if it's a good thing. It doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing by saying no. If you've already expended your energy, if you are not having the energy for your family, it's time to start saying no to things. And to me, that also includes emotional things. Like if there are people who are too emotionally expensive for you, they take too much out of you, they, are just too challenging for you to handle emotionally, then that's okay to say no to that person. I am by no means discrediting that you should love them. Please do.
Yeah.
Always.
But we've talked about this too in the sense of like friends, that you have friends that give and friends that take. So like you have your giving friends and your takeaway friends.
Yeah.
And so if you have people in your life that are just constantly taking, then those are takeaway friends, and you need to get rid of those people out of your life because they're not going to be beneficial to you. Like, yes, you, like you said, like love them and love on them, but like you don't need to bend over backwards to appease them. You don't need to take all of your time and energy to make them happy. You don't need to worry so much about what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what they're thinking about you, because it's just going to lead you on a long road.
Absolutely.
And you want to surround yourself with people who are giving friends, who are the ones who are going to, yes, they're going to take, but they're also going to give in return.
Absolutely.
And so it's going to make you giving feel better.
Well, and I think partially, I think the best way to put that is to set boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
You can still be their friend by all means. Like I'm never going to say like ditch friends.
Yeah.
Unless they are, emotionally abusive or toxic or something like that. Like then I would probably say that that's not a healthy person to have in your life. But if it's just a friend that tends to only come around when they need something, or, they are just asking or taking, like it's just more that you need to learn to set boundaries to protect yourself from that burnout.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as just saying, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that or whatever. And then taking a step away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like acknowledging them still, but
it's just about recognizing also just kind of where you're at in life and what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, like you said, if you're feeling like the things that you signed up for, the things that you want to do aren't like making you happy, like they aren't like or you're dreading doing them, or you're dreading going to them.
Yes.
Like then that's going to become an issue, and it's going to become hard for you to want to do those things. And that is a key sign of being burned out, is just like dreading activities, dreading going to work, dreading going to, that school function, or dreading going to like whatever it may be. Like it's hard to overcome that. But I think one thing that a lot of us can do is just slow down.
Yes.
I think that a lot of us try to take too much on to our plate. We try to do too much. We try to appease too many people. We try to bend over backwards for everyone that we can. And that will lead you to being burned out quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yes.
If you don't just slow down and like choose healthy things to help with, choose healthy things to do in your life, and then, you know, attack those like full on. But like, you know, give your all to a couple of things, but don't give your all to way too many things.
Well, and you really can't. You can't emotionally or physically expend that much energy. You just physically cannot. So it's really about prioritizing and deciding, okay, yes, all of these things are good, but what's best? And, you know, deciding, okay, here are the things in my life that are going to take my energy. You know, maybe that extra hobby that you would love to do, but is just expending too much, is asking too much of you, is taking too much time away from the things that are more important. Maybe that's not best for right now. Yeah. So just choosing those things that really give you the best opportunity to, I don't know. That's not what I'm trying to say. I don't know how to put it into words right now. Sorry. My brain's a little like all over the place. Just more so like pick the things that are best. Pick the things that honor your priorities in life. You know, if you can't ask yourself, okay, does this honor God? Does this honor my family, my spouse, my children? Like, does this honor them? And what I mean by that is not necessarily like, does it honor them? Does it like bring them joy, pride, joy, any of that? Like partially, yes. But also like, is it taking away from those things? Like, this is a good use of my time. Those are your top priorities. Is that taking away too much from those top priorities? Or even if your top priority right now, say you're not married, say your top priority right now is like your career or whatever that is, like whatever your top priorities are, do these things you're trying to add or subtract.
Yeah, so I think we just try to clutter up our lives so much, and we try to just do so much that it just kind of drives us a little crazy sometimes.
Yes.
I think that we try to just appease so many people because that's kind of the culture that we live in nowadays, is like doing so much and trying to look as best as you can, trying to look like you're as helpful as you can be. And you touched on it with like trying to chase after your career. Like that is for sure like what a lot of people are doing, is trying to appeal to their boss, trying to appeal to their management, trying to get that next leg up, trying to do whatever it may be. And if you're constantly giving and giving and giving of your time and trying to do more, like it's just going to drive you nuts. And it's just going to push you into that stage of like feeling burned out. Like you're just going to be to the point where it's too much. Like you've signed up for too many projects, or you signed up for too many class things, or you signed up for too many get-togethers with friends, or whatever it may be. And it just becomes too much.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the biggest things I see even in, you know, the creation story, right? Like God worked and then he rested. And I think that's something we are not good at as a culture. We are not good at resting. I mean, I am totally guilty of that. Like, even though we may have, you know, a whole weekend, which rarely happens, without like photo shoots or things to do, we have so much that we try to cram into weekends, whether it be hanging out with friends or whatever, and they're all good things. Yeah. But then we don't allow ourselves that rest. And then we get to the end of the weekend
most of the time, we're like, man, like I wish we had just like another day where we could just like do nothing.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like it's hard to like fit into that category of being like, wow, like we just went all weekend long, and it got us to a point where like we burned through our whole weekend. Yeah. And it wasn't as enjoyable as we would want it to be, and it makes it difficult. But
it does.
You know, I think like that's really interesting, you know, that you talked about creation, like how in the Bible they like prescribe a Sabbath day. Like it's supposed to be utilized for worship and for spending time with your family. And so like, and that's it. Yes. Like there's a lot of denominations around nowadays that even like full on prescribe to that. They're like, if you are working, if you are doing something that's not honoring God, not worshiping God, and not like being intentional with your family, like, then you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that we can take a key example from that as a way to kind of fix this burnout is just resting.
Well, I know in Judaism, especially where they're maybe more orthodox in their beliefs and they honor Shabbat, which is the Sabbath. I mean, they don't even they don't use electronics. They don't turn on anything. So like any cooking that they want to do has to be done the day before. Like, so they have this big meal, but they will maybe set an oven timer so that the oven will turn on and turn off and it cooks for them without them having to do the work. But I mean, they are not allowed to do any work.
Yeah.
And I think, as wild as it sounds, honestly, we need to give ourselves those times. We need to do that for ourselves.
And while it may not look like that, like it may not look like doing all your meal prep the day before, it may not look as crazy as that is seeming, like it is important to take time for yourself, time for your family, time to just rest and just do nothing.
Yeah.
Like some of our favorite days are our do nothing days.
Yes.
Where we wake up late. We make we slow to make breakfast. We just kind of hang out all day in our pajamas. Like we watch a movie or read books together or just hang out all day long with our kids and don't have anything on our agenda. Like those are some of the best days because they're just so refreshing.
Yeah.
And it's such a great way to just reset and just to be able to then plow through the week, after you've had a total day of resetting.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about this too, of just getting out, and just going and doing something like camping.
Yes.
Camping is proven to be a huge way to reset.
It's a beautiful way to reset.
You go out into the woods, even with your family, last time we went camping, it was all 5 of us and a dog. And it was still the most relaxing experience of my entire life.
It was probably our best, even though it wasn't a whole vacation, it was probably our best vacation yet.
Yeah. And we went for 2 nights. So we were there for 3 days and it felt like 2 weeks.
Yes.
It was so nice. And and there's been study after study done on camping and disconnecting from the digital world and leaving your phone off.
Yeah.
And just sleeping under the stars, even for 1 night, can reset the way that you sleep to fall into a normal sleep pattern and help you feel more energized and feel reset and actually have physical benefits.
Yeah.
Which is also a big part of avoiding burnout, is just taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. Regular exercise. I actually heard something today from CNN that said being sedentary and not working out can have far greater health implications than, any other type of thing. Some people will overwork themselves out or whatever, but they were saying it has huge health implications that really could affect the rest of your life because you're just sedentary. And so many of our jobs nowadays are sedentary. It can really help you work out a lot of stress. I know I'm mentally at my healthiest, emotionally at my healthiest when I'm working out regularly, even if it's just 15 minutes a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of good stuff.
Endorphins are a huge thing. I mean, they call it the happy drug.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and your brain releases those as you exercise, as you work out hard, and it makes you feel good. And that helps out a lot.
Yeah.
But it also creates just less mental clarity as well. Like you had said, I mean, it actually can help you feel happier. It can help you feel better. It can help you be more creative.
Yeah.
It can
I
help
feel
you.
a little hypocritical.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we just tore out our gym so that we could have room for a couch.
But we're planning on putting it back into a different space because there just was not enough room for both of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. But absolutely. I've noticed that over the last couple of months, we used to work out very regularly. Yeah, we used to really, strive for that. And then, being locked indoors and things like that kind of put an end to that, even though we have a home gym. We didn't have any excuses.
No.
We just didn't do it.
And we had it all the time.
Oh yeah, all the time. But at the same token, I can see the difference. I can feel the difference in my mental clarity and things like that of it feels good to just lift heavy stuff and put it back down. Like, and just to do it over and over again. Like, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
But then like you also get the benefits of seeing the physical changes, which can also help your mental state.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big balance between, physical health and mental health. And mental health is probably more pertinent when it comes to being burnt out than anything else, because without like taking care of your mental state, like it's going to be rough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you aren't caring for yourself, caring for your mental health, being acutely aware of the changes within that and seeking help if need be, or whatever that takes, your body, if something's not right, you need to fix that and take care of it. Because it's so important. And I don't say fix that in a sense that I think that mental health is easy, or that I think that it's just a one and done. You go see a therapist or you get this pill. Not at all. I know it's a lifelong struggle. I know that there are ups and downs in the journey, but truly, like, there is help out there, and there is so much good that can come from caring for yourself in that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, whether that be, talking to your spouse, like just airing out some grievances that are in your life, not necessarily like with your spouse, but like, what's kind of stressing you now, like what's going on in your day, or if that means that you like go to therapy, like if you go and actually talk to someone who's qualified to listen to your problems and give you a plan of attack, like it's important, guys, like to stay acutely aware of where you are mentally.
Yeah.
Because like, if you allow yourself to get into those negative cycles and into those worlds where, it just feels like everything's caving in on you, like everything's going to cave in on you.
Yeah.
Like it is hard to, then go and exercise. It's hard to then go and hang out with your friends. It's hard to then perform well at work. It's hard to be creative. It's hard to do X, Y, and Z, and that will make you feel even more burnt out if you're not taking care of your mental state.
For sure.
So
yeah,
I think
absolutely. It's very, very, very important. So taking care of your body, and not even just in how you work out, like feed yourself good food, make sure you're hydrated. I'm guilty of both of those things for sure, of not always being great about that, which is funny from a vegetarian, but I'm not always great about that. It's really easy to grab something that's easy over
we live in a convenience culture
full of healthy, good things.
Yeah. I mean, being in a convenience culture, like it's really easy to grab something that's not good for you.
Yeah.
Like it's really easy to not take care of your mental health or your physical health is really easy to not take care of your nutrition.
Yeah.
Because like McDonald's is fast and it's cheap and it's easy. Like,
and it tastes
good. It
tastes
pretty good sometimes. Like makes you feel like garbage most of the time.
Yeah.
But like, it's easy. It's a lot harder to cook a meal for yourself. But like, you know what?
Yes,
a lot of people can find mental clarity in cooking food. Like
I talked about that in the Thanksgiving
food episode. Like I really enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
And so for me, like being able to find those little things that help, find those little things that bring you that joy or bring you that, that like release, or that, and for a lot of people, exercise will be that. But for a lot of other people, like little things like crafting, or cooking, or just, you don't have to be like hardcore in the gym. Like you can just go for a walk.
Absolutely.
Like, whatever
being
it may
healthy
be.
And taking care of your body does not necessarily mean you're out there doing CrossFit or some extreme workout. Not that those are bad. If that's what you love, go for it. But if all you're capable of right now is taking a walk, do it. Yeah. Like that is
Get outside,
okay too.
Enjoy some Mother Nature and have some fun.
There is actually a lot of there have been a lot of scientific studies done that if you go and you spend, I think it's like 5 minutes. It's such a sad amount, but if you go and spend 5 minutes outside, it can completely change your mood.
Yeah. I mean, we are like, we get sun, like vitamin D, like through photosynthesis, basically in our skin. Like going out and being in the sun makes you a happier person.
Yes.
Like it energizes you. It powers you up. Like it is a big deal. And especially important in the season we're in now.
Yes.
You know, it's December, it's winter, it's cloudy all the freaking time in Ohio. Like
that checks out.
If you can get some sun, like it's important. Like it's important to get out there and just enjoy it. Like even if, like you said, for 5 minutes, and that's like sun on your skin. Like you need, like, don't go outside, like bundle up in a parka with a scarf wrapped around your face with a toboggan on. Like that's not going to help you. Like, but like if you can sit by a window that's got sunlight coming in, if you can like go out for a walk with a light jacket on that like your arms are exposed, like have some fun, get some sun, and it will change your life. Like it really will.
But wear your sunscreen.
Take care of your skin. Because too much sun's bad.
Yes. Take care of your skin. But that's, I mean, really self-care in that manner of like caring for your skin, caring for your health. Those kind of things do combat burnout. And really like, so I know I said before that if it's not benefiting your priorities, if it's not, you know, building into those priorities, I think often there's this misconception that taking time for yourself, whether it be working out or taking those, you know, 5 minutes to wear a face mask and whatever it is, like something that you love, that pampers you, that takes care of you, those things are never going to detract from your priorities, because when you are a healthier person, you are able to give your best to your family or your spouse or whatever your priority is. And that's going to always return good.
Yeah.
And not void. Like
it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So don't feel like, oh, if I do this though, it's not, you know, for the benefit of my husband. Well, actually it really is. If you're taking care of you, it really is.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think the key takeaways are just like rest, like take time for you, you know, prioritize your life, prioritize what's important to you, prioritize what is good and what's beneficial away from what's not good and what's not beneficial.
Yeah.
Then check your mental health.
Absolutely.
Check your physical health. Check your nutrition and how are you taking care of yourself? And then go out and do it. I know that for us, we do find a lot of joy in being outside and spending time hiking with our family, being outdoors, like just enjoying nature. And it is a big boost for us. And so I want to challenge you guys to, you know, this next week, go outside for 5 minutes a day, go for a walk. Like go just walk around your block. A lot of us are working from home. Go walk around your cul-de-sac. Like just go take a quick little walk. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just go do something. Go outside and just enjoy some time and do that every day for the next week and just check in and see if it works. See what it does for your mental health and see where it can lead you, because a lot of us are feeling stuck.
Yes.
A lot of us are feeling burnt out. 2020 has felt like it's been a million years long. And
not at the same time.
And not at the same time. But like, for a lot of people, it's been really hard and it's almost the end of the year. So let's end this year with a bang and just have some fun, get outside and just take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
So we hope that you got some value out of this content. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. Also, we got new microphones. I don't know if
they're beautiful.
If you can see them on YouTube, but if you can hear them in your podcast, hopefully the audio sounds better. Hopefully it's a little more conducive. We figure after 13 episodes, we're being pretty consistent in this. So we're going to treat ourselves to something that's not
treat yourself,
you know, $20 microphone that we recorded on before. So we got some official ones. Thanks to Rode microphones for those. They didn't give them to us. We definitely bought them. But
you pretended like we were that.
Yeah, we were cool for a second until I crashed back to reality. But anyways, I hope you guys got some value out of this content. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you did, we appreciate it if you like it on the podcast that you're listening to. If you're on YouTube, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channels for future content like this one.
I felt like I want to do that, like and subscribe.
Click the subscribe button below.
Click and like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, that's going in the video.
No, delete it. Okay.
But until next time, guys, we will see you soon.
Bye.